Hello guys, so welcome to the video of how to make a basic calculator using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Today we are gonna make a basic calculator, okay, and I have some pre-baked code here with me. I'll just paste it here for a moment. Yeah, and so as you can see, this is our HTML code, and I'm just gonna go through this code once and tell you all what this all is about and explain it to you. Okay, so so this is our doc type declaration, which people who are familiar with HTML will know about it, I guess. And then we have our HTML tag and our head tag. Inside that we have our basic meta tag, and then we have this tag, which I guess people who have studied about responsive design will know. I'm not gonna elaborate about this tag in this video. I'll just tell you, if you're using responsive design, you should use this tag. Okay, so next we have our title tag. Title tag, and we have this link to my CSS file. Okay, just let me modify it a bit. Okay, this is a Google Fonts link. This is totally optional. If you wish, you can just add a font or stuff like that in your page. Then we have our body tag, inside which we have a table tag. Okay, and now see, we have many options of creating a calculator like structure using many grid and row systems. You can even use bootstrap and stuff, but for me, using the table tag is the best way to do it, because it already has its own th, td, tr tags, which is really helpful for making such structure, according to me. So this is our table tag. Inside that we have our th tag, and inside of that we have got our h2 tag, which basically tells the calculator name. Okay, wait a minute, I'll just show you how the calculator will look after we are done. I should have done that in the beginning, but I'm sorry. So this is how it's gonna look, and so that's about it. You'll have these options. You can add, minus, divide, multiply, and even get the square root of numbers. That's it. Okay, so getting back to our code, our th ends here. We have a table row. Inside of that we have a table data with a id of td1. I'll tell you about that later. Okay, and inside of that we have a input type text, which has an id of result and a placeholder of 0. I guess you guys know about these attributes, this id, placeholder and all attributes. Okay, this result attribute is gonna come very handy for us in the upcoming times, and this placeholder really, it just holds that 0. So after that we have another table row. This row, which has 4 buttons, 4 buttons, 4 buttons, 4 buttons and 3 buttons each. Table row, and inside of that we have t tag, which means table data, and inside of that we have 3 input type buttons. Okay, which has a class CLSE, which is basically the short form of calculator. Okay, and these are the buttons, actually 7, 8, 9. Those are the buttons in the calculator. We have a class of calc, which is basically the short form of calculator, and after that we have our on click event, which I'm gonna talk about later on. And after that we have this plus sign with the class of operator, because that's math operator basically. Okay, yeah, so I'm just gonna leave this screen for 10 seconds. I guess you can just see this code and copy it if you wish, because it's just some basic HTML. Okay, you can understand it, I'm sure. Yeah, so here our table tag ends, and okay, sorry for that, we don't need h3 here. And right after the table tag ends, before closing our body tag, we are using this script tag. As you all know, this is a good practice to use your script tag at the end of your body. Okay, just let me do that. Nice. Now, okay, so now we are done with our HTML. Now moving on to the CSS file. Here we're gonna style the body first. Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna give it a margin of, margin top 10%. Background of black, and I'm not including the font stuff because that's completely optional. You can use it if you wish. Yeah, I'm gonna fast forward this coding part a bit, like I'm gonna increase the speed of it so you don't have to watch a very long video. Okay, okay, so after doing this much of code, I'm gonna show you how our calculator looks so far. It basically looks like this. Okay, then we're going to style our table TD. Oh, sorry, I forgot to write the TD after table. My fault. Yeah, so that's how our calculator looks so far. Yeah, so here we're gonna style our TD1 tag, which I spoke about earlier in this video. We're gonna give it a width of 100% and margin bottom of 10 px. Yes, that's how it's gonna look. Okay, so now we're gonna style the calc hover part, hover properties as you call it. Okay, I hope you guys know how to use this hover thing. It's just very simple. We're gonna give it a background color of so that's how it looks now. Awesome, right? Now we're gonna style our calc 1, which is the result, I mean the equals and clear button. We're gonna give it a border radius to make it make this button look rounded. Okay, just like we did with the calc class there, and that's how it looks. So we're gonna style the hover property of this thing now, and that's the same thing we're gonna do with our operator class, which we have as the addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and the square root. And after doing this is how it looks like. Okay, easy, right? And that's about it, and that's how our calculator looks like. I'm not gonna cover the responsive design part in this video. I've also done that in my calculator. Like, I'll just show you for once. Yes, if you resize the screen here and make it this small, the calculator will look like this and all, but in this code it will not look like this. So that is the difference in responsive design. But this video is all about making the calculator and not the responsive design, so I'm not gonna cover that part because it will make the video really long. So I guess we're done with our CSS here, and I'm gonna cover the JS part now. I've seen in a lot of videos that people tell you that we are using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, but they don't just understand that you may not understand what they're coding or what they're doing. So in this video I'm gonna tell you and explain you every line of code that I'm writing in JS, so that you understand what I'm doing or what you are going to do with your calculator. When you have a basic understanding of your code, you code better. Okay, so here we'll write a function called display. and we are going to give it a parameter. I hope you guys know what is a parameter in JavaScript. If you know the basics of JavaScript, you'll definitely know what is a parameter. So I'm gonna name my parameter as val or value, whatever you wish, and inside of my function I'm gonna use the document object, get element by id. The result id I'm gonna take, which is this one, and I'm just gonna assign it a value of, I'm gonna use the plus equals operator. I'm gonna assign it a value of the parameters. Okay, the parameter I have val, I'm gonna assign it that value. This is just one line of simple code. I'm taking the result element using this thing and assigning it a value of the parameter. It is as simple as that. If you understand the basics of JS, you'll understand it. Now see, I'm using this on click event on my HTML element, and I'm calling this display function here and passing it a argument of string 7. Okay, and why is it a string, I'll let you know in some time. So that's how it works. Now you can just write whatever you wish and it'll just reflect on your screen. Now we're gonna write another function which will be called result with no parameters inside it because we don't need it here, and we're gonna create a variable called input value and store the result id, I mean result elements value inside of it. Then we're going to create another variable called final result. Here we are using a global JavaScript function that is called eval. Okay, the eval function is something that comes with your JavaScript language by default because it is a global variable, or sorry, not a variable, my mistake, it is a global function. It just takes the string value, whatever string value, pass it, and it converts it into a numeric value and it evaluates it. Okay, basically if you have studied about data types in JS, you'll know what is a numeric value and what is a string value. So it just takes a string value, converts it into a numeric value and evaluates it with whatever operator you have inside of it. Okay, so we are just putting the input value inside of the evaluate function, or you can call passing the argument as like that. Okay, so we're going to create another variable here called output, which will take the result id's element once again and assign it a value this time, and the value will be final result variable. Okay, so we are evaluating the value of result id inside of this and then outputting it here, or you can say we are writing it to the page here. Now when we calculate anything, maybe 20 plus 30, that's equal to 50. As simple as that. And as you can see, we have this result function called right inside of the equals to button. We're calling it with our on click event with no parameters or arguments passed inside because we don't need it here. But now when, see, I can just do any kind of math here. But when I use this clear button, it is just not working. So we need to make another function for this to work. Okay, we'll create a function called erase. Just for your information, if you create a function called clear in JavaScript, I don't know if it's a bug or something, but it just doesn't work. Okay, so you can name your function whatever, but not clear. That's a basic suggestion for you. Okay, so this function is very simple. We're gonna create a variable, or we can just copy this thing here. We copy and paste it, but we're not gonna pass it in a value of anything, but we're gonna pass it a value of an empty string. Okay, I hope you all know what this empty string does, and we are calling this function inside of our HTML element with that C button. Okay, now when we write anything inside of it and use this button, boom, it disappears. As simple as that. Clear, right? But let's see if we can get a square root of something. But first let's see if other functions work. Subtract it, multiply it, divide it. Yeah, it's all working. But if I just see the square root of 9, is it working? No, it is not working. What should we do? We have to create another function for it. That is very simple. Yeah, so we are going to create a function called sqrt, which basically means square root. And here we're gonna copy, I guess we just copy this same thing here. We're gonna make this variable input value and get the result of, get the value of result element, and then create another variable called final result. But this time we're not going to use the evaluate function, we're going to use the math function. Okay, this is math methods, not a math function but math methods. This is math sqrt, which basically means square root, and I'm passing this argument of input value, which is our variable on the previous line. So it just takes that value and outputs our square root for that. So now when we do the 9, the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, as simple as that. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm telling. Okay, so this is how our calculator looks. You can change the fonts if you wish, that's completely up to you. I guess that's all about the video for now. If you like the video, please like it. Let me know in the comments what should I bring for you guys in my next video, or if you have any doubts, I'll just clear that. Okay, till then, if you like my video, subscribe it. Bye bye.